Everybody, I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Goshen Central School District being held on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025 at 6:32 in the District Administrative Building and being live streamed on YouTube. After the Pledge of Allegiance, I would like to ask everyone to have a brief moment of silence to keep in mind the passing of Robert Tremper, retired building superintendent.
The United States of America is the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everybody. We're going to just move slightly out of order this evening. We have a handful of students here, and to just be a little bit mindful of everyone's time. I know a lot of you guys came right from practice. We're going to jump to item number 8.3, a quick report from our superintendent, and then we'll go back to our regular order meeting. So, Dr. Coates.
Thank you so much, Mr. Loftus. One of the things that we are proud of in this district are the programs that we have, and that includes our music, our arts, our athletic programs. But what makes our programs even stronger is the support of the community and the family groups that stand behind those programs, that help to make sure that not only that our student athletes get to practices, not only that they get to competitions, but when there is a great need, that they rally together and they support the district in making sure that we have the best equipment, we have the best facilities that our student athletes deserve. We're here tonight to recognize the effort of one of our booster clubs, the Wrestling Booster Club, for something that they are about to donate to the district, again, to continue that air of excellence for our student athletes. So I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Athletics, Mr. George St. Lawrence, and our varsity wrestling coach, Mr. Jared Brynax, to discuss the donation that's going to be given tonight.
George, press the green button.
Thank you, Dr. Coates, members of the board, administrative staff team. To my right are the real honors that needs to be bestowed publicly for what is taking place here. I want to thank the wrestlers for being here to represent, as they always do, Goshen pride, spirit, and tradition. I'm going to turn it over to Coach so he can speak to the gift that is being presented to us and what it's going to be used for. And I think Mr. Rediker for the community office outside, if you would put that wrestling mat up on the screen, I think everybody appreciate it. Coach, I'll let you take over.
Okay, thank you, Mr. St. Lawrence. I'll begin with thanking you for all the support that you give to our wrestlers and our entire program over the years that you have been here. Without you, this would not be possible. I, of course, would like to thank the members of the board here for all of your support for our program over the years and for the continued years from here and beyond. Dr. Coates, Mr. Carter, thank you for your support. I know we talk a lot over the years about my program and how much support that you have behind us. So without you, this is also not possible. This is certainly not possible without the members of our booster club and their efforts. Over the last at least couple of years, we've had some incredible fundraising run by Miss Laura Whedon over here, Mr. Brett Whedon, my coaches back here, my wrestlers, all the parents, the papas are here, Mr. Carbone, Ms. Connie Tetzlaff, among others, who have stood behind our wrestlers over the last couple of years and have brought us to this moment. What we have here is an image of what is going to be our new competition mat. The mat that we currently have has been around for quite some time, and each year the New York State Championships runs a deal through Dolomer, and they will customize a competition mat, place it on the floor at the New York State Championships up in Albany in a month, and then that mat is delivered to our school and becomes our competition mat. We've been spending a lot of time over the last few years since I took over the program, traveling all over the state. So there are many schools in this state that know who we are. And we're gonna have an awesome opportunity right here for everyone to show up in Albany and see our mat there, and everyone knows who we are. Cause they've wrestled against us, they beat us, they lost against us, and so it won't be a surprise when they see that and that blue mat pops off of the floor up at the MVP arena. So we're really looking forward to that, and we can't thank everyone here enough, the Goshen community, for being behind us and supporting us through our fundraising efforts. If they had some kind of impact, whether they were a family member or they're running a barber shop or a pizza shop or anything else, everyone in this community has supported this program in one way or another over the last few years, and it's brought us to this amazing moment. So I can't thank everyone enough for this. And so I am here to present a check for half of the amount for this mat. And we can't wait to get our first matches on there. And hopefully we send at least a couple of wrestlers there this year. And maybe we can get some pictures of them wrestling on that mat up in Albany. So thank you everyone again for being here. I want to thank all of my wrestlers for putting in all of their efforts, also helping out with the fundraising efforts and bringing us to this moment. And of course, my coaches for supporting us and this program and being there for this. Without any of you, this is impossible. So thank you again, and here you are, Mr. St. Lawrence.
I'd like to accept this on behalf of the school district and pass it right over to our superintendent. I do want to say that wrestling is a very special sport. It's a long tradition here in the school. I'm very proud of these young men and the hours that they put in, and to be able to have this piece of equipment signifies not just wrestling, but how the community and how the school district work hand in hand for the benefit of our youth. And so, guys, make good use. And coach, let's hope we get somebody up there to wrestle on this mat in the state meet. So thank you, everybody. On with the board.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you again for those fundraising efforts, and wrestlers, after you leave later on tonight, there'll be a resolution here that will obviously be passed, and then it'll be official to accept the donation. So thanks again for all your hard work, and good luck making it up the States.
Thank you.
Next, I need a motion to go into executive session. Ashley and Scott. Be resolved that the Board of Education will enter into executive session with the intent to reconvene this portion of the meeting for discussions related to the employment history of a particular person or persons. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. We'll be back shortly, everybody. Thank you very much. Any motion to reconvene the meeting? Shannon and Brett, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. Moving on to our next item, privilege of the floor. Do we have anything on this morning? Right, very good. Just a big side note, some of the students and scouts here observing. During the privilege of the floor is the public's opportunity and students' opportunity to come and share their thoughts with the board. I don't have anybody speaking tonight, but it's our opportunity to just listen to community feedback. And then, just so the rest of you know, now we go into a few different reports. And then from there, we move on to more of the administrative stuff, passing different resolutions or voting on different resolutions. Just a quick structure of the meeting, what you guys can expect, and ladies. All right? No problem. Next is our president's report. Just want to wish everybody a happy new year and good luck moving forward in 2025. And as always, the policy committee is endlessly meeting, reviewing policy nonstop. And that's all I have for tonight. Right, next we have our student representative report. Francesca Zaccaro.
Thank you. As we come back from the break, the January entrance exams are scheduled for January 21st, the 24th being held at the high school. It is the end of the marking period on January 24th for both the high school and the middle school. No Name Calling Week begins on January 21st at GIS. It's a great opportunity to reinforce kindness and respect in our school environment. The Universal Pre-K registration is now open for the 2025-2026 school year. The deadline to register is January 24th. And these are the key updates for this week. Thank you and have a good rest of your day.
All right, thank you, Francesca. All right, do we have any board, committee, legislative reports? Anybody have any updates? All right, very good. Regarding policy, does anybody need any time to review any of the materials that were sent around? Very good, so moving on then, we'll go back to Dr. Curtis Coates for our superintendent's report.
Thank you, sir. So, as many of you may remember, on December 16th, we had a full district-wide half-day plan for our parent-teacher conferences, of which the weather did not cooperate that day, unfortunately. And what we were finding was many of our families were reaching out directly to principals and to teachers to try to find time to reschedule or to find time to meet with teachers individually. So we worked together with the administrative unit and have rescheduled that because we value this time where families can come in and speak directly with the faculty to talk about how the children are making progress, what supports they may need. We've moved forward and rescheduled that for January 27th. We'll have a half day of school on that day. Information is gonna via Parent Square. One thing to keep in mind, if the weather does not cooperate on that day and we end up having a 2-hour delay again on that day, we would cancel those conferences because we have a second day of conferences planned for March, and the time interval in between the end of January and the beginning of March is not that large. We were going to simply push the parent conferences, the appointments that were made for the December conferences forward. If you needed to cancel or if you needed to try to change, any parents can feel free to reach out directly to the teachers that you had conferences scheduled to make those changes. The other item I wanted to report on before turning over to our budget presentation, part of the district work regarding facilities for approximately the last year and a half had been surrounding the Erie Street property behind us on Weber Street. Part of the process, as you may remember, if the district wanted to transfer ownership of that property, revolved around a public vote. The district could have opted to put the piece of property up for sale on the open market, but the board chose to try to work together directly with the village of Goshen, who had approached the district with large plans for the piece of property to develop it into a village park. We held the vote yesterday at the direction of the board, and I'm pleased to report that the referendum passed to transfer the ownership of the village, the district property over to the village by a margin of 578 yes votes to 15 no votes. What we have learned in the process, the transfer of property from a public corporation, the school district, to another public corporation, the village, is much easier than when you sell your house. A house requires many different legal loopholes to jump through. This is essentially President of the Board of Education signs off on transfer of the title from the school district over to the village. That can happen in a very short period of time. And we've already asked the legal counsel for the school district to start to work with legal counsel for the village. I know the village is very anxious to get work started, they have plans, and that should happen hopefully within a short period of time moving forward. I'm going to turn the last part of my presentation over tonight to Mrs. Van Pelt-Lamoran. As part of the board approved budget calendar, we're up to our non-instructional budget presentation. And while Mrs. Lamoran gets settled, a lot of this is still very much in draft format, the budget presentation for tonight. We do not know all of our revenue projections yet from New York State. However, we have built the non-instructional portion based on a lot of the assumptions of essentially a rollover budget with some acknowledgement and some focus on some of the critical needs of the district. It will focus largely, like I said in the beginning, on the non-instructional portion of the budget. Without further ado, Ms. Lamoran, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Coates, and good evening. Okay, tonight we'll be reviewing the non-instructional section of the budget. See, we did do a presentation in November, and that was on the rollover of the 24-25 school year's budget. I think I pushed the button, but it didn't go. Okay. Tonight we're doing the non-instructional section. Then we have budget presentation number 3 on February 3rd, and that'll cover the instructional side of the budget. On March 4th, I anticipate having the revenue side of the budget completed. And then on April 22nd, the board would have to adopt the proposed budget in order to have everything done in a timely manner and approve the submission of the property tax report card. May 12th is our public hearing, and the big date is May 20th for the annual budget vote this year. Whenever we develop the budget, we do it in mind to align it with the school board's goals as well as the district's strategic plan. This year, the goals look very similar to the prior year. I know you're continuing to work on the maintenance and support of the district facilities and electrification of our bus fleet. We are also continuing to, or actually hopefully you're going to finalize the policy audit for the board. And new this year, we have the early implementation of the budget development process. And for our strategic plan, we continue to keep in mind strengthening the facilities for a safe environment for our students where they have a voice and a choice, and our personal academic and career development. And we are also aligned with the K-12 path for their success. Some other goals to keep in mind are to ensure that continue the highest quality teaching and learning for all students, and also to continue to provide a safe, supportive learning environment. We want to plan appropriately for our needs for students based on the enrollment and the changes we've been seeing. Capital project planning and facility maintenance and upgrades are ongoing, as well as maintaining our financial stability. That also ties in with staying within the tax levy cap. And I continue to adjust, actually both Dr. Coates and I continue to adjust the budget lines to accurately reflect expenditures. That's been an ongoing process since I started, and I am still moving some things around from certain sections of the budget to others to maximize our aid in areas where I can. And last but not least is transparency in the budget development. Some of our considerations and challenges this year, and again, you'll see these from year to year, they do not change typically. This year we do have potentially declining state aid. I know we were made whole with the foundation aid. Now, in 24-25 we're caught up, but in the prior 2 years, 23-24, 22-23. But this year, we are potentially looking at a change in the foundation aid, foundation aid formula. And we do not know what that will come about until next week. We expect the governor's numbers to come out during the week. Typically, they're released the day of for her address or the day after her address, and they did not come out this year yet. The tax levy cap is another area where this changes from year to year. It's a formula that's based on a number of moving parts and pieces. And some years you could have more exclusions than others. Some years you could have a pension exclusion, or you could have a capital exclusion if you're doing a project, say, that could go up. Or if you don't have a project and you had one the prior year, those exclusions go down. And that impacts your tax levy cap, which impacts the amount of revenue that you can raise to support your budget. So that is constantly changing from year to year. CPI is also still a concern. It is still high right now. It isn't as high as it has been for the last 2 years. Our enrollment, we always keep an eye on that to see if it's declining or growing. It could be remaining stagnant, but growing in different areas. Special education or ELL population could be changing. Staffing and benefits are potentially make up 80% or more of any given budget. So this is an area you definitely need to focus on. It is what drives our budget forward every year for the most part. And BOCES services, this is also a big consideration. We do subscribe to a large number of services from BOCES, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing because they're able to service us for items that we cannot do, whether it's based on space or we don't have enough students for to fill a classroom. And the good news is it is aidable. So we always look at that when we subscribe to BOCES for the cost benefit analysis. Then we have our curriculum and programs, any changing curriculum that we have to contend with from the state, what we need to do to prepare for that. Our special education numbers are increasing in the enrollment. We also have to keep that in mind with building any budgets, facilities maintenance, and trying to address the 5-year plan. I think we're going into year 3 of the 5-year plan. We may be currently in year 3. Technology upgrades and maintaining our equipment. Debt service and unfunded mandates are also considerations. We don't know if there will be any unfunded mandates for the new year until after the governor's budget comes out. So the non-instructional section of the budget makes up 8 sections, or takes up 8 sections of the budget. And it is that portion of the budget that has nothing to do directly with students in their education. It's the, I call it, backbone of the budget. It's the buildings and grounds and the business office and the superintendent's office, everybody, and the board running the school from behind the scenes. And so those 8 sections are listed up above. We have Board of Education, and in here we have software for the board docs software that you use, and we also have the voting costs, which we also use a software program for that as well. All the supplies and the district clerk's salaries and any payments for the voting staff that assists us with the vote. Central administration is where the superintendent and his administrative assistants costs are, all their supplies and whatever it takes to do business in that office. Finance is not only the business office, but we also have the tax collection costs in there and our auditor's costs as well. We have all of our supplies and salaries and equipment and whatever is needed to run the office. Staff and personnel is not just the HR department. It also includes our legal counsel. This is where you'll find the contractual costs for our legal. And also our public relations expenditures are found here. Central services covers not only buildings and grounds, but also our data, which is our technology portion of the data. It's not, technology is typically found on the instructional side for students, but this again, as I said before, is like the backbone. This is where you find server costs and our data clerk and everything related to that. Our software for the school groups and software for business offices. Buildings and grounds takes up a big portion of this section of the budget. And we also have security costs within central services as well. And then we have special items, and you can see the items that we have that are included in here. As for insurance, it does not mean employee benefits insurance. This is the insurance of the district, the fire, theft, and liability insurance. And then BOCES, you'll find throughout the budget their costs for services, but under special items is where you'll find the administrative costs for their program and the capital, such as our capital project costs that we have to pay our share of, and rent. And then we have people transportation and undistributed, and that's a blanket description of our employee benefits, our intrafund transfers, and our debt service, which is our principal and interest. So intrafund transfers too, before I forget to highlight that, it includes 3 transfers that we do currently. We do the capital fund transfer right now for our capital outlay projects, where you can get 80% of that money back in the following year. It only means up to $100,000. We also transfer funds over to the lunch fund to help support their program. And then the special aid fund, we transfer 20% of the costs for the special ed summer program. The state funds us at 80%. I've taken those 8 sections of the budget and broken it down and compared it with the current budget for 24-25 and what is proposed for 25-26, the dollar change for each of those sections and the percentage change. Throughout this budget, you will have increases for salaries based on our negotiated contracts, which have all been settled, and BOCES rates that is found throughout each of these except for under undistributed. The other drivers here or major changes in the finance section, I have added our stack service for this year. We did sign up for Questar State Aid Planning to do our stack services at the beginning of this year, but previously that was budgeted under the special education section, and now I've moved it over to the finance, and that is through BOCES so that we can get the aid back on that. Then under staff, what we have driving this increase here is a couple of items. We are purchasing a new software for the HR department, and it's an onboarding software for applications. And it'll start from the application process being completed, and it'll go all the way through to Mrs. Farrell when she gets it for the board to go to the board as well. And it'll streamline things and make it, we're hoping, cleaner, neater, and quicker to go through. We are doing that through BOCES, and it is an eatable item. And I've also moved some software over into, Parent Square. I did move Parent Square over into the steps section because, as I mentioned before, staff also covers public relations. And that software is actually a communications type software, which before it was found under central services for the data section, but it really belongs under communications. Another driver here under special items. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over central services. Under central services, the driver really is for utilities. Utilities we anticipate will increase again, and supplies, those have increased quite a bit over the last couple of years, and we've tried to toe the line on that, but our cleaning supplies and paper goods and all of that has increased. And also I put a line in there, or I put an increase in there for our security, which is the village police and Atlas Security Services. And then under special items, the driver here is our insurance. Our insurance rate went up, and this is typical everywhere, not only in businesses and school districts, but at home. I don't know about you guys, but my insurance is going through the roof and they have claims. So it's just the sign of the times with all of the climate change and issues happening and disasters. I say the word disaster, but they label them as disasters is driving these insurance rates to go up all over the place. So that is what the bulk of that driver is there. It also includes the debt service. We have the last year that the debt service will go up for the BOCES project, and it's going to level out in 26-27. So this is year 3 of their project coming onto the books. The driver under pupil transportation, We pulled back our runs from BOCES. We're no longer using a contractual company to do some of the runs that they were doing for us going down Westchester and Rockland BOCES. So I've had to increase the fuel line, because we're driving more, and also the tolls. The tolls have gone up considerably because we have multiple buses going down that way and tolls are going up. And then under undistributed, we do have increases in health insurance rates, 2.8%. Our TRS rate actually has gone down very, very slightly. That's at 10.11%. ERS right now is semi-stagnant until the rate comes out. Right now I have budgeted 14 to 16% depending on the tier. We do have a reduction in retirement costs, and the reason for that is because we can use our EVLAR, which is the employee benefit reserve, to offset those costs if we so choose. So instead of having the full amount in the budget, if we have retirements next year, the board can appropriate those funds to help offset those costs. And for debt service, there is a slight increase here. It's not because we're taking on new debt or refinancing old bonds. It is because GASB, I don't remember the number because there's so many of them, it's 100 something has come out in the last couple of years. GASB is the Government Accounting Standards Board, where they make changes for different accounting entries that we have to make for the financial statements. We actually have to book any leases that we have. So for example, we lease our radios in the school buses. So rather than budget for that in the transportation section any longer, I have to budget for that under leases, which falls under debt service. They're considered a debt. So that's the driver there. And then under interfund transfers, I've kept those lines stagnant for the 3 transfers for federal, lunch, and capital. However, we have been talking about a proposed project we would like to propose to the board. It is in the 5-year plan. It is related to health and safety, so it's in alignment with the strategic plan. And it is the controls in the CGA Hooker building. We would like to do more work on that, and the PA system in the high school. We would like to address those 2 things and any potentially, depending on what the numbers are that come in for the cost of that, some other small projects that we could do, pick out of the 5-year plan. So that number could change. Overall, our increase in the non-instructional section, sorry you can't see it on the screen, but it's $1.1 million or 2.8%. And compared to last year's increase between 23-24 and 24-25, our increase was 2.3%. So we're not too far off from last year. This is a pie chart showing how those 8 sections make up the non-instructional section of the budget. And just remember, this is the non-instructional section. So it's not what they make up in the total budget, but rather just this section. And the smallest piece is the Board of Education, under 0.25%. And the largest piece, and it makes sense, is undistributed. And remember that the benefits can be found. So that's why it makes up the largest part of the section of the budget. And this is just the specific codes, account codes that are used throughout the non-instructional budget and the categories that they cover. I'm not going to read all of those to you, but they are up there for a reason, because I have broken those down to another comparison of the 24-25 budget and the proposed again. So if you look at salaries, these are based on, again, the contractual changes based on negotiations for the contracts that have been settled. Equipment, you have a small decrease here, and that is largely in the buildings and grounds department. We aren't planning to purchase any vehicles. The last couple of years we have purchased vehicles in there in buildings and grounds. Contract services, the driver here is security costs and utilities. Supplies, another small increase here based upon the costs of our supplies in buildings and grounds. The rest of the codes throughout the 8 sections were held to the same as the prior year. OC services, the driver here is not only the projected increase, I used 4% for OC's increases for their services, but also again, the debt service that's coming on the books for their project. And then the other section, those benefits, and those are the drivers in this section. And again, our total was 2.3% last year, or $915,000. And here is that, here are those codes or descriptive codes broken down and what we got in the budget. On the non-instructional side, equipment makes up the smallest part. Benefits, again, under other, makes up the largest part. And this is a summary of the major changes. Again, it is early, so I may have more changes and increases or decreases. We have the retirement costs, because even though our rates may not be increasing, the retirement costs can still increase because salaries are increasing, depending on whether you TRS or PRS. Salaries go up, it's a percentage of salaries that we have to budget for. Health insurance and Medicare reimbursement, BOCES project, and also the services are increasing. Salaries due to our contractual negotiations. There are no added staff positions in this section of the budget. So those are really just being driven by contract negotiations. And we have our decreases from equipment and buildings and grounds, BOCES services. Just as you have increases, you can also have decreases in certain areas of budget. In this case, it's transportation because we took those runs back to do in-house. And then let's see, unknown factors. There we go. So we do have our BOCES service rates. I did receive those on Friday, but it wasn't enough time to update this section of the budget before tonight. I'd rather do it and get you the right numbers for next week. The insurance rate should be coming out in February. I do anticipate a potential increase here as well. The tax levy cap, we would need to know by March 1st if the board would like to decide to move forward with a potential project through the interfund transfer, just as we did 2 years ago when we did that $1 million transfer. So if we could get the numbers, talk to the architect, we'll see what those costs could be for these items and give you that amount, and at least we have some time to think about that. State aid, the governor's numbers will be out next week, and that's when, again, we'll know about any unfunded. And this next slide is just a summary of the changes between 24-25 and 25-26 and dollar and percent. And then we have our mission statement. And if anybody should have any questions.
Do we have a net savings from pulling back those runs from BOCES and doing that? Do we know what we're saving that over fuel costs?
I have not calculated that yet because this is truly the first full year of that. So in order to do that, I want to see how much it has cost. I could do an average, yes. And we also have a contract that are salaries that have changed. So there's a lot of moving factors in there, but I could give you an average of what we anticipate that to be, but it should be, yes. And when we did, like, you know, how I talk about BOCES aid, when we contract our transportation through them, we weren't getting BOCES aid on that, we were still getting transportation aid. It was just a service that they were doing for us with a bid or an RFP.
If you could get us a projection also what the complete would be, like how much we could take over if we have enough drivers with current equipment and what that savings will continue, or?
Right, okay. Yeah, if I can just about, I know the rates for contract transportation were going through the roof, so I want to say 95% sure we are saving money, but we do have to make increases in the budget to make up for that, so but I'll get that for you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
So as we always do when we have new employees start with the district, I like to invite those newest employees to come and introduce themselves to the board. We do have a lead replacement coming up at the high school in health and physical education. And I'd like to invite Mr. Michael Greco to introduce himself to the board.
Good evening. So my name is Michael Greco. I will be taking over for the phys ed and health lead replacement at the high school. A little bit about myself. I graduated from SUNY Cortland last year with a degree in phys ed. Currently, I have a lead replacement at Marlboro Middle School, which is phys ed and health, which started at the beginning of the school year and ends next week. During my time at Marlboro, I was lucky enough to be able to coach the boys varsity soccer team in the fall and currently coach the boys varsity basketball team. With that being said, I'm excited to get started and thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to having you. Welcome. That will conclude for me, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Coates. Moving on to our next item, our Assistant Superintendent for Business Report, Ms. Lorraine Beck-Lemmer.
I just have the claims auditor quarterly reports in there. I'll have financials. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, Personnel and Technology Report, Mr. Jason Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Loftus. Good evening, everyone. A few items to share with you on a couple of updates. So we'll start off with least restrictive environment and targeted skills group meetings. So throughout the school year, we've had an opportunity to put together a group of special education, general education teachers, service providers, and our PPS administrative team to attend these LRE skill group meetings with other school districts and groups throughout the county. And this is a state-sponsored group. These meetings are designed to help or allow rather our groups to look at special education data and also some of our district services. We had a great opportunity today to have our building level administrators join the team. And so the focus today was to look at inclusive practices that provide LRE, least restrictive environment for our students, which is extremely important. And to also take a look at the profile of a student in our instructional co-teach programs and throughout the state, if you will. And also to take a deeper look at appropriate and meaningful staff development opportunities. So I think today was very beneficial. These meetings are ongoing, so month after month, we will continue to attend. This is a very important step in monitoring and continuing to develop quality programs here in the district. So we're very proud that we're able to attend with a larger group. I want to say thank you to our PPS department, Dr. Hendershot, and her administrative team for putting this together on behalf of the district, and also for our building level administrators for taking the time to join these meaningful conversations. Thank you to everyone. A couple of smaller updates regarding professional development. So in district, we do use the Read 180 and System 44 programs. This is a targeted literacy program and is a part of special design instruction for some of our special education students. So we are quite familiar with this. However, as they used to stand alone to focus on foundational literacy skills, they've now joined. And so the platform has changed a little bit. And so we got in touch with Newton Mifflin to send a rep to give us a 2-hour professional development training to become a little bit more familiar and fluent within that platform as it's now combined. So that will take place on the 17th, and we're happy to have our team join that. In one of our previous meetings, I had spoken to you about professional development through Melanie Lafaro and her team at OU BOCES, led by Karen Miedema for science. And so we had the opportunity to solidify the dates for that, which would be January 30th and February 6th. So we're putting our team together to continue to explore currently what we have in-house by way of materials and supplies, and then also to do a deep dive, continued deep dive into the standards to ensure alignment and to move forward. So we've got that coming up once again on 1/30 and 2/6. As many of you may know, our students especially, not especially, but those high school seniors that are looking for moving on to college, there's the opportunity to fill out the FAFSA, the student aid form, and also the DREAM Act form if applicable. And so commissioners regulations in July now were amended and require us to notify either those students that are 18 and over, the parents of high school seniors who are under 18. And then in addition to notifying, we have to document if those students or if their parents actually filled out the FAFSA or if applicable, the DREAM Act form. And if they choose not to, they then have to sign a waiver stating that they are aware of what those forms are and that they're choosing not to. And that data needs to be warehoused, and we'd have to be prepared to probably upload that to level 0, eventually to level 2, to prove to the state that we're adhering to this regulation. And so we've been working with Ed Vistas to put that form together. We've had an opportunity to work with Missy Holland at Goshen High School and Mr. Pantaleone. So we have the awareness, they've taken care of a larger portion of that educational piece. We're going to disseminate that quickly through Ed Vistas. So we encourage students 18 and over to look in their GCS and Y emails for this notification, and also parents of seniors under 18 for that notification at the email address listed on schools. So we're in the process of just polishing that up. We hope to get that out beginning next week. And that will go out every single day until it's filled out by either the student or the parent / okay. Just wanted to mention that we received notification on Monday regarding Scholastic Arts Awards. So as you know, we have a pretty accomplished arts program here. And we're very fortunate to have been notified that Goshen High School received 85 awards on Monday evening through the Scholastic Arts program. And so I do have a spreadsheet with all of the names. I don't have that with me, but Dan will take care of that through our PR department, and we'll be sure to get that out there for the public to the best of our ability. But this includes 38 honorable mentions, 24 silver awards, and 23 gold. So again, we're very proud of our students, and we want to put a big thank you for their efforts, and also to our entire art department, because it is a continuum of learning in that respect. So extremely proud of them. They now have an opportunity to move on and compete for national recognition, national awards. So we'll keep you abreast of that as we get notification. And so the award ceremony for the silver and gold will be at SUNY New Paltz on February 7th. We'll try to get that information out there as well. So again, congratulations to our students, and thank you for all of their efforts. Just a couple of smaller updates for you. So I'll be traveling out to the Newburgh Armory tomorrow just to sit through a CUNY informational meeting to see what programs that they may have to offer our students at Goshen High School, and then to talk about some professional development and learning opportunities for our faculty and staff members. So I look forward to that, see what we can bring back by way of opportunities for our students. Also, just to reiterate, UPK registration is now active, it's open, so we encourage everyone to visit our website, utilize the link to get that application in. It is an application to get into the UPK lottery. If you're unable to do that by way of internet access, please stop in and see our registrar. We do have paper copies and we can assist you with that. 54 seats will be available for the upcoming school year, and we will pull those names in that lottery style system on the 28th. At some point in the morning. We're targeting 9:30. So hopefully we'll get that up and running by 9:30, and then notifications will go to families shortly thereafter. We do have a wait list. So if your name isn't pulled, you will go in the order in which you were pulled on that wait list. We have utilized the wait list almost in its entirety in the past. So there is still opportunity if you're not one of the initial 54. And we look forward to getting through that. I think we have a great program and want to keep building. And finally, just want to remind the board that we are putting together a presentation regarding the Academic Intervention Service Program with our building level administrators and some others on the team. We anticipate presenting you with all the information at the February 18th meeting. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Mr. Carter, I know that the UPK information was posted on the website. Is there any other way that the district gets that information out to parents or to members of the community? Because I know that has been, I mean, I saw some posts on Facebook, but that was through other parents putting it on there. So is there any other means that we've let the community members know that that is available?
Yeah, so we're waiting right now on lawn signs to place in front of our buildings and transportation in front of some of the larger displays that we have, such as the big signage in front of the transportation department. So we anticipate that those will be here tomorrow morning, and we will get those out and post them around, strategic places in the district. And then we can also work out, a parent notification through our communication system, just to ensure that everyone is aware. But we figured we, start right here with this information and then continue to get that out. Again, the poll is on the 28th, and so we have until Friday the 24th to get that out. So we do still have some time to get applications. Currently, I believe we're in the lower 90s with applications, and that had just opened. So we're way ahead of our previous pace, from previous years.
Thank you.
Just to piggyback on that a little bit, some of the feedback I've heard, positive feedback is when information is put out on multiple platforms, whether that be our social media pages, our parent squares, email blasts, and websites. There seems to be good feedback that it's available everywhere. So thank you for bringing up that point. It's good. All right, very good. Okay, moving on. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. We have Brett, Shannon. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the retirement of Mary Adams, special education teacher, effective June 27, 2025. Ms. Adams has been with the district for 30 years. Be it further resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the retirement of Patricia Bowles, special education teacher, effective June 30th, 2025. Ms. Bowles has been with the district for 21 years. Be it further resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the retirement of Mary Sullivan, special education teacher, effective June 30th, 2025. Ms. Sullivan has been with the district for 25 years. Be it further resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the retirement of Robert Hoover, art teacher, effective June 30th, 2025. Mr. Hoover has been with the district for 30 years. Be it further resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the retirement of Elizabeth Laskowski, English teacher, effective June 30th, 2025. Ms. Laskowski has been with the district for 21 years. Be it further resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the remainder of the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, a quick congratulations and good luck for our retirees and also our new hires. Thank you. All right, we need a motion to accept the results of the special district meeting vote on January 14th, 2025. We have Scott and Brett. Be resolved, the Board of Education accepts the results of the special district meeting vote held on January 14th, 2025 regarding the conveyance of the district-owned parcel of land located on Erie Street to the village of Goshen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting and special district meeting. Shannon and Ashley. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the minutes of December 16th, 2024 regular meeting and the January 14th, 2025 special district meeting. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Need a motion to accept the recommendations of the Committee of Special Education and Committee on Preschool Special Education. Billy and Shannon. Be resolved that the Board of Education hereby arranges for the special education programs and services based upon the recommendations made for preschool and school-age students with disabilities by the Committee on Preschool Special Education, CPSE, and Committee on Special Education, CSE, during the period November 21st, 2024 through and including December 20th, 2024, and directs the district to arrange for the provisions of said special education programs and services to such preschool and school-age students with disabilities as recommended during such time period by the CPSE and CSE. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Need a motion to approve budgetary transfers. Scott, Ashley. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the following budgetary transfers in aggregate over $105,000. Payroll changes due to reclassification of codes, contractual obligations, substitutes, and additional earnings as needed, dated 12/27/24, in the amount of $198,698. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Need a motion to accept the donation from Goshen Wrestling Parents Club and authorize an increase in budget. Scott, Billy. Be it resolved, the Board of Education does hereby accept with appreciation the donation of $7,082.50 from the Goshen Wrestling Parents Club to aid in the purchase of a new wrestling mat for use by the Goshen Central School District Athletic Department. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education approves increases to the 2024-2025 budget by $7,082.50 to support the associated expenditures as presented. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Need a motion to approve the affiliation agreement with Touro University Worldwide. Shannon and Ashley. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education approves entering into an affiliation agreement with Touro University Worldwide for the Goshen Central School District to provide school social worker fieldwork opportunities for students enrolled in Touro University Worldwide program. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the Superintendent of Schools to execute the affiliation agreement. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Need a motion to approve the increased hourly rates for certain substitutes. Scott and Brett. Whereas New York State has increased minimum wage for hourly workers effective January 1st, 2025. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby establishes the following hourly rates effective January 1st, 2025 to comply with the New York State minimum wage laws as presented. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. No additional floor assignments. All right, very good. Any board member issues or comments that anybody would like to discuss? No? All right, very good. Then moving on, I need a motion to go into executive session. Shannon and Billy. Be it resolved that the Board of Education will enter into executive session with the intent not to reconvene the business portion of the meeting for discussions related to the employment history of a particular person or persons. Favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you very much, everyone, and have a great night.